welcome back to the Shark Tank. It is Monday, September 25th, 2017. I kind of cheated the system a little bit today. So I've complained recently that during the school year, or whatever, that I can't ride during the day or during the week because I have got to take my son to school, and that's more important. And I live about 20 to 30 minutes away from work, depending on traffic. And today I said, screw it. We're going to drive the truck home during lunch, pick up the bike, take it back. That way I can kind of cheat it. You also might notice I've got some gloves on. I've never had any gloves quite like this before, but I've come a long way in my safety habits. I used to ride no helmet, nothing, just riding around 110 miles an hour sometimes in my younger days, just nothing going on, and we're getting there. I know I still don't have like a, armored jacket or none of that stuff. Not yet, maybe. We'll look at it as it gets cooler, but we're gonna see how it goes. So, what did I want to talk about today? Man, you've seen it all over the news. I'm sure your friends are talking about it on Facebook. That whole kneeling thing with the athletes that we got going on right now. I want to start by saying that I think this is a really noble effort. I do recognize, obviously you can tell by my arms here that, I'm a regular run-of-the-mill white male with a Harley Davidson, whatever. So maybe there's some people out there that'll say, oh, Mike, whatever you say don't count because of your privilege. That's a whole different conversation. But I do think there's some merit to the protests that are going on. And I think if you're going to stand up for something, it should be something that people should see. Otherwise, what's the point of protesting if nobody's going to see it, right? But while I think that's a noble effort, because equality, man, there's a difference, and I've seen this conversation out and about. Equality and equity are two different things, and while equality certainly exists in the United States, equity is what has been argued, in the last several years. And whether or not I believe in the injustices of society and different races and how people are treated based on their race from law enforcement and whatnot, that's irrelevant. I'm not going to get into that conversation. I want to talk specifically about the protests and how they're being handled. So we had a lot of football teams, just in case for some weird damn reason you've been living under a rock and have no idea what the fuck is going on. It all started about 13 months ago with Colin Kaepernick for the San Francisco 49ers refusing to stand up during the national anthem in protest of, in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. Okay, he got some flack for that, but he was the only one. Now let me say something. Whether or not you believe in his cause, that's irrelevant. The fact is, the dude decided he was going to do something and take a stand about it. That's what you have to look at. Be objective about what you're critiquing. Are you pissed off about the American or the national anthem and the American flag and the disrespect? I understand that. But it starts somewhere. So now fast forward 13 months. Now we've got entire teams refusing to come out on the sidelines. You've got players refusing to stand. In their efforts to show that their support for Black Lives Matter. It all started there. Hats off to them. But here's where I have an issue. You've got two complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of this particular protest. I read this morning, I probably should have seen this yesterday. Maybe it was a news thing yesterday, but one of the MLB beat writers for the Oakland A's had penned a tweet, and I forgot her name. The catcher for the Oakland A's, the Oakland Athletics. He took his stand. He took a knee. He took a knee in protest, but he also had his hand over his heart. And his words couldn't express more truly how I feel about this whole thing. Looking for the words to say in somebody in my position, it's kind of tough sometimes because you don't want to ruffle the wrong feathers. Some people don't give a shit, and I like to say I don't give a shit, but I don't want to ruffle the wrong feathers because what's the point? All I'm going to do is piss people off and we're going to get in an argument. But what he said really kind of made sense. He's like, I'm proud to be an American. I salute the military folks, the first responders, that have sacrificed so much to give me the opportunity to play baseball, something to that effect. Maybe I've got it wrong. I just read it this morning, so forgive me for not having it all there. That's a respectful way to do it. So you're taking your knee. People are talking about you taking the knee. It's well noted why you're taking the knee, but you also have respect for the people who fought for that flag, for your individual liberty to say whatever it is that you want to say, protected by the First Amendment. Playing the football game that you like, or the baseball game that you work so hard to play in this great country of ours. I like it. Let's go to the other complete opposite end of the spectrum and tell you a protest that I don't agree with. And keep in mind, and here's where we're at in 2017, where I have to give a disclaimer on my own fucking opinion. But keep in mind that this is how I see things, and I don't care if you agree with it or not. You're going to have your opinions, I'm going to have mine. You had a Buffalo Bills player, and I meant to look up his name while I was getting my bike from the house. You've got a Buffalo Bills player who not only kneeled or whatever, or refused to salute or stand for the national anthem or whatever, he went so far as to do his stretching exercises during the national anthem as a complete and blatant disrespectful act towards the nation, towards the flag, towards the anthem. Those things in and of themselves don't mean a whole lot. It's what they stand for. And my thought on it, on the whole thing, you can't completely denounce the symbolism that represents your country. It's counterproductive. If you want to protest something and get your message across, if you do it in a disrespectful manner, you're not reaching the right people. You're not reaching the people that you want to get the message across to. You're not telling people that, hey, things need to change. You need to change your views. What you're doing is you're pissing them off, and that's going to drive them even further away. I was completely disgusted by this guy. I wasn't upset at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wasn't upset at the New England Patriots, at the Seattle Seahawks, whomever. I'm not upset with any of them. But I'm upset with this Buffalo Bills guy. It's one thing to protest. It's another thing to be completely disrespectful. Here's a country where you're allowed to pursue a fucking sport and get paid millions of dollars to do it. You're allowed to have any opinion that you want and speak out and take actions protected by the First Amendment on anything you want. Now, with those actions come consequences. This is the kind of shit, though, that's just being disrespectful. What point do you have? What do you get across with that message besides, I'm going to completely denounce this, not even recognize this flag exists? Instead, why not send the message that, hey, this is now or once was, however you feel, a fantastic nation full of opportunity, and we've gone by the wayside a little bit, and we need to straighten it out. Or we need some more equity for some different classes of folks. How can you get that message across without doing those things? But then again, what are you doing outside of that? Do you think that doing stretches during the national anthem does anything at all to further any cause that you stand up for? What are you doing today, on Monday, the day after the game? I do want to say hats off also to the Pittsburgh Steelers former Army Ranger Villanueva. Because when the entire team decided that they were not going to come out, he said, you know what, no, I'm going to come out, and he received a lot of attention for it because he fought for what he believed in, and hats off to him. Again, I'm not upset with the rest of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. They want to stay in their locker room, they want to exercise their First Amendment right, go for it. Doesn't bother me at all. I know if I'm at a game, I'm going to stand up for the national anthem. I'm going to put my hand over my heart because I believe that America can be what it once was or what it is destined to be. And I don't think that disrespecting any symbolism of the country is going to get us where we want to be. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. feel like I've kind of rambled a little bit on it, and I guess that's what you do in a vlog. But it's interesting to look at the NFL ratings too. So I read another article this morning, I think it was on LinkedIn, about how the ratings for the NFL have dropped like 25% year over year in week 2. And I think there was a lot of people in protest of the National Football League, so they just weren't watching games this weekend just to protest. Again, I think it's silly. I watched the games that I wanted to watch. Whether or not I agree with the protest is irrelevant. I want to watch football, so I'm going to watch football. They can take that shit outside, whatever. Anyway, tell me what you think. It's a hot item. Again, I don't want anybody to think that I think the protests are dumb. I think people should stand up for what they believe in. I think it takes a lot of balls, as long as they're not just doing it for attention or because everybody else is doing it. If you have a legitimate motivator to get to protest the things, to stand up for these things, and by all means do it. For whatever it is. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Doesn't mean your neighbor has to agree with it. Doesn't mean my neighbor has to agree with me. Anyway, let me know. Comments below. Subscribe. Hit that like button. Bam.